Hello and welcome to the ARIS Training Module 3, Session 2. Let's get started with our first assessment tool. This module digs into the skills, baseline, and progress tracking sheet and walks you through the rubric that will help you assess your students' learning so they can get started in the ARIS program. The skills baseline and progress tracking sheet is the first step to assessing a student's current skill level and determining where they should start in the ARIS program. On the sheet, you will notice that there is one column for the parent to record their observations of the student's skills, and there's a separate column for the teacher to independently record their initial observations. The next four columns are designed to record periodic observations of the student's emerging skills and track the student's progress through the program. You will also note that this sheet is divided into sections corresponding with the ARIS content. Let's take a moment to dig in and explore how you will go about conducting an ARIS assessment. The assessment rubric is available on the ARIS user portal and provides descriptors for scores, space to record the current score on each skill, and also a map to lessons column that maps the skill to ARIS lessons based on the score. So while the skills baseline and progress tracking sheet provides a range of mapped lessons, you will be able to use the rubric to determine exactly which lessons to start the student on based on their specific scores. Okay, let's circle back to the skills baseline and progress tracking sheet. This tracking sheet is intended to be an observation tool. Sometimes you or the parent will already know what the student is able to do and where they struggle. For some skills, you may need to create a situation in which you can observe the students to assess the skill. First, you will want to print off a copy of the skills baseline and progress tracking sheet and send it home for parents to fill out to gather information from home. You may even want to do this before the first day of school, if at all possible. Then, you will want to print off another copy of the sheet to use at school. Scan your copy of the assessment to find any skills you have personally observed the student doing. You can fill out those areas of the assessment right away on the teacher columns. You may also know of certain skills that the student definitely does not have mastered. You can record this data on the tracking sheet too. With this information filled in, you can more easily identify which skills you haven't observed and start to create situations where you can observe the student to decide scores for those skills. Some situations may be organic, such as observing self-help skills or peer interactions. For other skills, you may have to create a situation so you can observe the student. This can mean pulling out a set of blocks to see how well they can stack them, or ask them to identify shapes or colors around the classroom. For the language skills, you will likely want to sit down and formally test the student on word knowledge. We will share more about this in the next module. The rubric tells you exactly what the skill should look like to score at any specific level. Use this information to choose a score which best describes the student's current performance. After determining scores, record your answers in the teacher column on the skills baseline and progress tracking sheet. Now we want to create one primary sheet that has both the parent and teacher scores together. The easiest way to do this is to take the version of the sheet that the parent has completed and transfer the parent scores to the sheet with the teacher scores. If a student scores a 5 on any skill, you can go ahead and check the mastered cell next to that skill. If there is a difference between the score that the parent gave and the teacher score, you can make a note to talk to the parent and understand why they scored like they did. If the student is performing differently at home than they are at school, you will want to work with the parent to understand why. Staying in communication with parents about student performance will go a long way towards helping the student generalize their newly learned skills. And when it comes to IEP time, this will go a long way towards eliminating surprises. Teaching is an art form, and it requires in-the-moment adjustments. So extend yourself grace as you navigate the ARIS curriculum and these assessment checklists. You might find yourself needing to make some on-the-fly adjustments and actually put students in a different lesson than what you anticipated. Remember, the skills baseline and progress tracking sheet is the first of 3 tracking sheets. Up next is the second. It's the words, phrases, and concepts checklist. When you're ready, join me in the next session. We'll see you there.